Hello, I'm here with Meredith Hamilton of Crane Realtors today, and we're going to talk about Briar Hill Estates. My apologies if anybody has seen the thumbnail of me staring at my screen, kind of awkwardly, but that was a test on Vimeo, and we're broadcasting to actually Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
lots of
expanding,
places.
expanding. So today we're going to discuss Briar Hill, and that's in Crestwood, Kentucky. Can you tell me a little bit about the location?
So we are located in Crestwood, Kentucky, in Oldham County. This is my neighborhood. I've lived in this neighborhood for about 8 years now. I am also the current HOA president, so I'm your resident expert. We are approximately a mile and a half from the Jefferson County line. We have home sites that you can build on, and those range from 90,000 to 120,000. We have existing homes, and those prices range from 400,000 to 650,000. The average square feet of our homes are from around 2,300 to 4,000 square feet.
And that's just above grade and not including basement finishes typically?
The 2,300 to about 3,500 is above grade.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And that 2,300, is that typically the ranch
That
type
is
properties?
typically
Okay.
the ranch style home.
Okay, well, great.
Yes.
What's the HOA fee there?
The HOA fee is $125 a year.
And what does that include?
That includes maintenance of the islands and the entrance of the subdivision. We get our streets cleared by the county.
Okay. Can you tell me what other features are in that neighborhood? Is there a park and some?
There is a park at the beginning of the neighborhood. It's called Briar Hill Park. That has a lot of walking and hiking paths and biking trails. It also has an asphalt walking loop, a sand volleyball court, a concrete basketball court. There's a pavilion you can rent, and that has a grill and picnic tables. And there's playground equipment with rubber mulch on the playground.
That sounds nice. I've actually hiked, had a client that moved over there probably about 3 years ago, and I made it down to the bottom of the property. They got a piece of real estate that had an additional lot that was added on by the builder to their property, and then they subsequently sold it to the neighboring property, and they ended up with this really neat piece of property on the cul-de-sac with, I think, over an acre and a half or very close to it. And
Nice.
so I ended up wandering around down there, and then ran into one of the trails and
Mm-hmm.
ended up walking a little bit of that trail, which it was pretty neat. So tell me about, and I don't know if you did the underground utilities. Is that
Right. We
correct?
have underground utilities, and those are that includes cable and sewer.
That's great. Are all the properties there on sewer, or is it hit and miss?
It's hit or miss. I
Okay.
think the older section of the neighborhood is a septic, but the newer section is sewer.
Okay, and it's good to have somebody that is in the know with those, because I have seen many a times where people have on the MLS, the agent that puts those remarks in as being sometimes on sewer when they're actually on septic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a street in St. Matthews called Ledyard. I don't know if you knew that they are on septic systems,
Right, right.
and unfortunately I ran into somebody that found out the hard way that they had some plumbing issues, and the plumber was out there. And
That's a hard way to find
yes,
out.
it is. Yep. So tell me a little bit more about how close it is to, if you need to get into Louisville, and commute times.
So there are multiple ways to get into Louisville from our neighborhood. You could go straight into 22 and get on the Gene Snyder. That's about 3.5 miles away. You can cut through the back of the neighborhood and in through Brentwood and Spring Hill and be at Interstate 71 within 10 minutes. You could also take 22 to 42 and go in back roads and avoid interstate altogether.
So how close are shopping? So if you need to go to the grocery, things like that.
So the grocery and the paddock and access to the Gene Snyder is about 3.5, 4 miles away.
That's great.
Mhm.
And for those events at Norton Commons too, when they do
Yes.
the music in the summertime and things like that, what kind of travel time are you to Norton Commons?
Maybe 10 minutes.
10 minutes. That's great. So tell me a little bit about the schools. I know you have some kids in the schools there.
Right.
It's a lot different than Jefferson County.
It is. We have neighborhood schools.
That's
so
great.
Whatever school whatever neighborhood you buy into, you are assigned a school, and that's where you're going to go.
That's great. So what do you think about the schools? Have you been pretty satisfied with the education?
I have been extremely satisfied with my children's education. I have a son in middle school right now, and I have a daughter in elementary school. And I would put Oldham County schools up against any Catholic school in Jefferson County.
That's great. Yeah, that's really nice. I think I don't know if anybody's watched the last video that we did, but my kids were on a bus for sometimes 45 minutes one way to up to an hour, hour and 20 minutes, and it was a shame to see
Right.
them on the bus. It was very time consuming and tiring for them. Um, so there's a lot of activities going on in the neighborhood. Tell me about the neighbors and how they get together and what do they do during the.
So we're very lucky. Recently, a bunch of women in the neighborhood have formed a social committee, and the HOA has given them some money to help fund the events. But we have multiple bunco groups in the neighborhood. I never knew how to play bunco, but I got involved, and now I really like it. Halloween is crazy in our neighborhood. Most people put fire pits in their front yard, and the kids just go from yard to yard, and hundreds of kids. We have a 4th of July picnic at Briar Hill Park with activities and a bike parade, and you decorate your bike and ride around the walking path. We just had a chili cook-off, and that I didn't get to make that because my son was at wrestling, but I heard that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds nice. So how long have you lived in Briar Hill?
It'll be 8 years in June.
8 years. Wow, great. And I believe that there's a lot of houses with pools too. Is that correct?
There are, and there's a lot of people putting in pools as
Putting
we
in
speak.
pools.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, to make sure that you get the right agent to ensure that there's not a septic system in the backyard before you
Right.
commit to purchasing, because you don't want to be digging up your septic lateral lines. So is there any other fun facts you can tell us about the neighborhood? And we will start looking at what's available and what's sold here in a second.
It's just a really great place to live. It has a small town feel. It's close to, like I said, the schools, Kenwood Station Elementary and South Oldham Middle School and South Oldham High School are approximately a 11 to 12-minute drive.
That's great. Well, let's look at some of the properties currently available, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about these. 6119 Perrin Drive, it's listed right now at $675,000. It's got 6,800 square feet of living space. Have you personally been in this property?
I have been in this property. It is really nice and it is well maintained. The homeowners take a lot of pride in their home.
That's great. It looks like a beautiful home. A lot of space for anybody that might need that. Let's see what else. There is another one at Shadow Creek. It looks like that one's active under contract, and that means that the property is under contract pending contingencies, but it's supposed to mean also that the seller is still willing to show it. So if anybody has any interest in seeing 6119 Perrin Drive at 675, or potentially being a backup offer on 8006 Shadow Creek Road, let us know. And here is some pending properties. 6104 Winkler. Did you make it into this one?
I have not.
No.
No.
That's 599,000. Is that new construction just being finished?
It is. I don't think it's
yep, there
finished
it is.
out yet.
It sure isn't. Wow, that looks good. Looks like a lot of new house, or a lot of house for new construction. Here's some closed properties. One at 575 at Turner Ridge, 7226 East Orchard Grass Boulevard at 400,000. 7512 Jones Trace, 530. Turner Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And Norman.
There's the one I had.
Yeah, and here's one that you closed recently at 6104 Gilliam Court. Beautiful house.
Gorgeous.
Yep. Shows very well. Well, we won't be able to see the interior photos because they do drop off, but come back for another episode and we'll show you how fancy and we can make your $500,000 house look like a stunner and a $1 million home. Let's see, a couple other ones that have sold recently is Cambridge Drive and Turner Ridge. And here's some of the lots. You have about how many lots are available right now?
Winkler has probably 5 or 6 lots available.
Okay.
There are not a whole lot available in the neighborhood.
Do you have any builders that you can recommend if somebody were to reach out to you? Can you match them up with a builder?
Absolutely,
Excellent.
I can.
Great. Well, if anybody has any interest in Briar Hill Estates, please reach out to Meredith, and I'm sure she would be happy to get you into this property and get your home sold and get you into new construction or whatever you may need. Meredith, you want to share your contact information?
Sure. My cell phone number is 502-376-5163, and my email is Meredith, and that's spelled MERIDITH, @cranerealtors.com.
Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it, and we're signing off.
Thanks.